So in 2025, markets have been somewhat problematic and we've seen quite a bit of red. Now we have seen a bit of an increase over the last few days, but a lot of people are very concerned about what's happening. So let's put a bit of perspective into that over the course of this video. Year to date then, the old world is down by nearly 5%, the S&P 500 a couple of percent, and QQQ a couple of percent. Now, as I said, things have actually picked up over the course of the last week. In reality, we were in correction territory. Don't forget correction means that a 10% drop in the market. So seen a bit of a pullback recently, but people are still very concerned about what potentially this might mean over the course of 2025. A couple of things I've seen people mentioning they are doing is moving everything out of the US and moving it into European defense stocks. Now this for me is completely reactionary. And it's not something I'd advocate for myself, certainly, to do, because who knows what's going to happen. We could enter into peace times immediately, and those European defense stocks could absolutely crash through the floor. Equally, we could not, and they could continue. No one knows. But consistency is the most important thing here. And if we're trying to move into categories where we think there's going to be some short-term gains, typically most people are going to lose doing that. A lot of people have sold out as well, transferred into cash, and they're trying to wait until there's a drop in the market. Don't forget, trying to time the market has a low probability of success and requires a lot of work to get right. Time in the market has a high probability for success in the long term and requires no work whatsoever. So I advocate for the second one for my portfolio, absolutely anyway. You guys can consider what you want to do, but the vast majority of people that try to time the market do lose. Imagine this scenario. We've dropped by 20%. You think that it's going to continue to absolutely tank, so you pull your investments out, you transfer into cash, and you wait for it to absolutely bottom out. From here, it goes up by 30%. You've lost all of those gains. We're now 30% up. You think to yourself, right, well, now's the time to get in because it's on the increase. It's just going to continue doing that. You buy in, it drops by 10%. The cycle continues ad infinitum until you give up and say, this thing's a whole scam. It's not for me. I don't know what anyone's doing investing. You can't make any money. Alternatively, staying in the market, continuing to buy means you buy when it goes up, you buy when it goes down, you pick up those bargains. It comes with a lot of volatility, and that is the price of admission, unfortunately. But that typically, for the very vast majority of people, has proven to be successful for decades. Now, have you also noticed that it always makes the news when markets drop? It doesn't matter how much they drop by, even a couple of percent typically will get on the front page of the BBC. Now, I don't recall once seeing over the course of 2024 any news about the markets going up by 20-odd%. Negativity sells. It's in our mindset to absorb negativity, and what we need to do with investing is completely ignore it. As hard as that may be, we need to ignore it. Now, we're not going to go into detail in terms of what is actually causing the decline, but in a nutshell, we've got tariffs, we've got Trump doing his thing, we've got uncertainty, we've got the threat of recession, and what markets don't like is uncertainty. They like predictability. When there is a high level of uncertainty, we see declines, right? And that's just the way that it works. When things stable out, things are boring, there's no news about what the market's doing, that's when we see the biggest gains. What we need to do is precondition ourselves to understand that this is not a bad thing. This comes with investing. Now, if you're going to invest for the long term, you are going to come across a lot of drops in the market. The market drops by 10% or more every 1.2 years. That is very often. So if in doubt, the old adage, zoom out. So when we zoom out on, for example, the S&P 500 here, you can see there are a lot of drops, a lot of significant drops, a lot of catastrophes, a lot of thinking that it's never going to recover from here. But those that continue to invest have seen the graph go in one direction. So another old adage, we're pulling out all the old cliches today, is this time it's different. That I have seen so many times in my comments over the last few weeks. This time it genuinely is different. We're not going to recover from this. This is a generational drop in the market, and we need to get out into cash and stay in cash for as long as we possibly can. Now, this time is different, comes out every single time there is any drop in the market. You will have multiple commentators saying, analysts, professionals, amateurs alike, saying that for X, Y, and Z, this time it genuinely is different, and we need to really be concerned. We need to pull our money out, and we need to worry about what's going to be happening over the course of the next few years. And every single time, for 150 years, it never has been different. It has recovered from its drops. It has gone on to all-time highs. And actually, typically, the markets grow the most after a drop. So it makes most sense to just stay in it. So this volatility is the price to entry with investing, and you need to accept that as soon as you possibly can. This is true of ETFs. This is true of big businesses, small businesses. If you see drops in the market, you're going to see it pretty much across the board, and everyone's portfolio is going to get affected. There will be very, very few people that won't be affected by a 10% drop in the S&P 500. Very few. And if they are not affected by a 10% drop in the S&P 500, they are probably not as adequately diversified as they should be. And with all of this, the temptation is to check your portfolio every single day. I do it myself. I look at it every single day. I look to see how it's performing. But let me ask you two questions. How often do you check your pension? Right, I'm a bit of a finance geek, so I check it maybe once a month, but I think that that is significantly more than the average person. Now, don't forget, your pension is invested into the market. Most people never check it at all. If you're lucky, they might check it twice a year. So how often are you checking your pension? And when we see a 10% drop in the market, are you going into your pension and making adjustments? Are you selling out and moving all of your pension pot into European defense stocks? Are you selling out and moving it all into bonds and waiting for the market to drop, moving it into cash? I guarantee 99% of you will be saying, no, we're doing nothing. We just keep dripping in. It goes in every month through your company, through your SIP, whatever it may be. You ignore it. Now, if we could replicate that behavior with our investment portfolios, we'd probably do okay. Second question is, how often do you check the value of your house? So your pension and your house are probably the two biggest assets that you possess if you own a house, if you have a pension. And how often are you checking the price of your house? How often are you going on Zoopla? Again, I guarantee there will be no one watching this that does it daily, but the vast majority of people that are watching this probably do check their ISA portfolio every single day. When you see a drop in the value of your house by 10%, do you sell up, move to cash? Obviously, we're talking about completely less liquid products here, but do you panic when you see a drop of 10% in the value of your house? Maybe you do if you're about to sell and rebuy. Maybe you do in very specific circumstances, but the vast majority of us don't even look. The best advice I can give here with all of this stuff that we've talked about so far is, if all of this makes you uncomfortable, and it doesn't make me uncomfortable in the slightest. I've been through a few of these. I know my way around them now. I'm using it as an opportunity. But if you do find it uncomfortable, if you do find that you're tempted to sell out, to move to cash, to do whatever, read The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. I'll put a link below or something like that. But if you haven't read that book already, that book will probably change your life and change your perception in terms of how investing works. And it might make you quite a few quid. If you listen to it, absorb it, and follow what's being said, you're probably going to do okay. So even with investing, there is a negative correlation between how much work you put in and the results that you get out. For the vast majority of people, the more work, the more tinkering you do in your investment portfolio, the worse you are going to do. And that is a fact, and we just need to accept it. Unless you are in the top couple of % of investors in the world, I don't consider myself to be in that bracket, but if you consider yourself to be in that bracket, then feel free to go for it. For everyone else, less work means more returns. However, we also need to bear in mind that this volatility is not for everyone, and not everyone can handle these sorts of peaks and troughs. And you need to have a serious conversation with yourself. If you cannot deal with this, if you cannot deal with drops in your portfolio of 10%, of 20%, of 30% in 1 year, which is very, very possible, then perhaps you need to ask yourself whether investing is for you, right? You need to be completely honest with yourself, because you could potentially lose a lot of money if you're tinkering, if you're making changes when you're worried. You probably might be better off looking at high interest accounts, cash ISAs. Now, what you'll get with that is a guaranteed return, 3-4%, but what you won't get is that level of growth that we see when we invest into the market. Now, there's no guarantee of what the future is going to hold, but we need to make sure that our risk tolerance is appropriate for what we're doing with our own hard-earned money. So is now a good time to invest? Well, for me, it is. Yesterday was, tomorrow will be, 5 years ago was, in 5 years' time, it will be. If I was starting today, I would be more than happy to start. If I was starting 2 weeks ago, I'd be even happier, because we've seen some gains in the market since then. Any given day is a good time to start. Now, markets, don't forget, go up 63% of the time. So in a given year, there's a 63% chance that the market will go up. Now, that does mean that there's a 27% chance that it will go down. What's going to happen over the course of 2025? No one knows. Anyone that tells you they do is either lying, incompetent, or trying to sell you something. And we need to understand that as well. What I do have is some links on my bio to some brokers where you'll get a kickback if you use those. They're pretty tasty kickbacks as well. Cost you nothing to do it. In the interest of transparency, I'll get a kickback as well. But if I was starting today, I'd be more than happy to start today. Now, in terms of what I do going forward is I continue to do what I've always done. Now, I put the vast majority of my money into two ETFs. The all world that I use is FWRG, and I'm going to go much more heavily weighted into that going forward. That is where 90% of my money going forward is going to continue to go into. I'm also into the S&P 500 and have a 10% allocation to individual businesses. Now, that's my personal preference. That is not financial advice. You do what works for you. Keep it as simple as possible. Stay consistent. Keep going. Ignore the red. Ignore the noise, and you'll probably do okay.